So Steve obviously said we do have a very large storage system. In fact, we have multiple storage systems, and they keep moving around as much as I would love them to stay where they are. So obviously, as Steve said, we came from 4 different sites, and they had their own storage systems. In fact, we still have their storage systems because we haven't actually got rid of them yet, but we are working on that. So obviously, there were 4 Isilon systems, and numerous other storage systems to the point that we were finding them as we were leaving the building. We still found even more of them. We are working on slowly getting rid of those, and obviously trying to move everyone and all the labs onto our new storage. So obviously our main storage is 2 GS12Ks, running with currently about 10 petabytes of storage. I have to say a massive thank you to DDN and OCF, who have dealt with numerous challenges over the past 2 years, because we probably found every bug and every problem that we could have, and particularly during our migration, because it was happening in about 3 months. We pretty much threw the kitchen sink at it, probably several times over. So yeah, this is basically where we started. So our original camp storage was only about 3 petabytes in size, and there were several other storage systems around. So we had our instrument ingest buffer that was about 1 petabyte in size. Our general storage system that originally was meant to be home directories. And we had 2 satellite storage systems at our old sites that essentially were there to help transfer data from the old sites into the new building while the labs were moving. It's safe to say that AFM and our satellite systems caused us a lot of issues. I think probably Vic and Luke at DDN have probably got sick of us asking all the problems about AFM. But eventually we did manage to transfer all of the data and all of the systems to the new site. And probably in just about now, we've finally got everybody moved and using the new storage system. So yeah, our storage system obviously has an FDR InfiniBand network. It also connects to our HPC cluster, which currently has about 300 nodes. And as Steve said, we'll be getting a brand new GPU cluster to go with it. And obviously, we have several GS7K systems, which are the satellite systems. So what were our problems? As Steve said, our migration was about 3 months instead of about what should have been about 1.5 years. That made life particularly tricky, trying to get everybody into the building at the same time. Very quick lesson, don't try and test the system while putting it in production. Obviously, our migration of legacy data, moving 130 labs in 3 months was not a simple task, and trying to find all of their data and trying to get all the labs to agree where all their data was proving difficult. Our labs are also producing more and more data as we go along. We obviously have to support all of our instruments in the building, which are running just about every OS under the sun, and could be very, very difficult to get to talk to the storage. And obviously, we came from 4 old sites. All of our labs needed to adapt to the new ways of working, new building, and all the issues that come with that. So probably our biggest issue we had was AFM. Basically, we were using it to try and transfer data to the Crick and to also work with our instrument ingest buffer. At the time, we probably tested it beyond its limits. And in the end, we did have to mothball our instrument ingest buffer, although we are working on bringing it back in a much more limited way. One of the big problems we did have was permissions just didn't sync between the 2 systems. We were setting them, they weren't setting on the system, people couldn't get access to the data they need to. Like I said, our other big problem is our data growth. Our labs are producing data at a faster and faster rate. I believe the last time our backup system, I talked to our backup guys, there was more than 500 million files on our backup system. And obviously, we've had to expand camp from 3 petabytes to 10 petabytes just in the past year. We have also been warned about at least one microscope that might produce several petabytes in a few weeks. We're kind of hoping it never turns up, but we have to be aware of it. And obviously, because we're a research institute, a lot of our grants require that we keep that data for 10 years or even 25 years, depending on exactly what it is. So obviously, we do need to get an archive system, hopefully before camp fills up. Otherwise, we will get in a lot of trouble from our labs. So obviously, our system has evolved massively over the past 2 years. We are moving things around and trying to improve the system. So obviously, we have expanded our camp storage system. We've added a full backup system using Spectrum Protect to keep all the data safe, and we are working on an archive. Our instrument ingest buffer is hopefully coming back into use again once I have time to get it back working. And we've obviously changed a few systems, and we've gained a new test system so that we can actually check that everything is working before we start messing around with camp. We want to try and keep it up, so Blackadder has now become a useful test system just to check things are working. But other than that, that was a very brief run through of everything that was going on at the Crick for the past 2 years.
Any other questions?
The majority of your clients, especially like laboratory clients, are you using like cluster export services, protocol nodes, or are they doing GPFS natively?
We obviously have to support the HPC cluster, which has GPFS mounts, but we also have our media scaler nodes, which present it out to Samba and NFS. That has to go to Macs, Windows, and Linux, so we have to cover every base pretty much.
Well, yeah, get in here so we can catch it. Sorry. No, you're right.
So is the 14 petabyte backup going to tape? If so, what kind?
It's an offsite tape backup system with Jaguar tapes in, and we have 2 full copies of everything, so that we try to keep everything alive.
How long does that take?
The original ingest, I believe, when we had about 4 petabytes of data, took about 2 months to get it over to Slough. We did have all the fun because we were expanding camp at the same time, and the restripe then caused all sorts of fun with our backups, so it took a lot longer than we were originally planning, but we do now get a full backup of all the new data within 24 hours. So.
You don't want to do that again. More questions? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.